Fudge. Oh man, I just got done telling you this whole story, Robert. Horrible, horrible. That's funny, man. That is funny. Let's see. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Unbelievable. Good to see you, Robert. Sorry to hear you're feeling a bit cranky today. Good morning, Brian. Good morning, Cray. Yes, I have found out. Oh man, that's horrible. Morning, Cindy. Good morning, Mel. Good morning, Mr. Bill. Mr. Bill, the beautiful Bill. Man, it's crazy. So you guys heard the you guys watched the live new battleships, Trump class battleships, baby. What do you guys think about our President Donald Trump? Honest opinions before the libtards come over here. Um, can't stay this morning, but wanted to wish you all a Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, Cindy. I will be getting on live tomorrow at 7 a.m. I will go ahead and do a prayer for those who are Christians and want to join me in prayer. I will do that tomorrow at 7 a.m. Let's see. Yeah. Surviving. How are you? Surviving. Surviving is surviving. Yeah. You know, I know we've been very complacent, with our Navy that we have. Guys, if you guys haven't noticed, I know you guys have, but there's a lot of dark stuff going around the world, man. I think it's a lot heavier when you're looking for it, since I have to do a lot of research, to keep up with what I understand is happening. There is a lot of dark stuff happening throughout the world. You know, it's sad that we see a lot of the corruption in our government, and that we have to, kind of fight it out, with other people that, well, they just don't want to see what we see. They don't they don't want to believe what we believe, and it really is more about, where does your moral boundaries lay, and I find that, even when we are fighting for the same issues, there's always going to be a pushback. There's always going to be some type of argument about anything, which is okay. But when we have total different ideals, completely different belief on what our society should be, that's when it becomes a problem. Good morning, sister. How are you, my beautiful sister? Trinity, my lovely sister. Um, Good to see you, Mama. I hope you're doing good this morning. Don't forget tomorrow, 7 a.m. It'll be 10 a.m. for you, Trinity. I don't know if you're going to be busy doing something for the family, but I'm going to be doing a prayer at 7 a.m. here, my time. I guess I could do it earlier, but most people are actually more in the Pacific and the Central time. Let's see. Trumpster, Ice Baby, good morning. Good morning, all. You know, was in Melbourne at the time and did not like going to Sydney, especially with the clown of Prime Minister blaming the attack on Australians. Yeah, well, that's what I mean. About when you're researching things, and you notice the bad things happening around more and more, and you know I wish that everybody would see the same thing, but we don't. We have fights amongst ourselves because we disagree on some things, but then our biggest fight is always against principalities, and it's just a spiritual battle. And we're so weak, we're so corrupted, by our flesh and everything that we go on in this life, that it just really is hard um, to survive anymore. Like it's just weird. Like if you can live your life, and you won't have a problem, with anybody hating you. Listen, you just go somewhere and wither away, and it's not a big deal to you. But when you care about where you live, when you care about your country, when you care about other people, it becomes really more of a burden. And I have found that there is the worst thing is religious religious people that go to the extreme. Good morning, Jim. We have this fight here with Muslims. And there are Muslims, even though I believe that Islam is a fake religion, it doesn't matter. People can still have their own religion. But we have these Muslims in here that they really believe that the Islam is a peaceful, religious group. And they just, like many people that claim to be spiritual, they just go through the motions. They want to wear the dress. They want to wear the outfit. They want to, I see it on Spanish churches, when they're Pentecostal. They got the Star of David. They got the Israel's flag, and they got the rabbi's clothing. And then all of a sudden, it's like they think they have to be like the Jews, and that's not what the Bible says. So you got fanatics. You got people that are corrupted. You got Christians that. They have churches as a business. I mean, these people, they just want to take money from people. And then you have other churches where, they think Jesus is black. And that's the main prophecy and the main teaching that they have, is that black is the real God color. Come on, man. It's just the stupidest things that people that have in religion. So, the only thing that I'm going to say about Christians is, anybody can be hypocritical. Anybody can be corrupt. Many Christians are idolaters. Many Christians are corrupted. The many people that are evil call themselves Christians as well. And so, sometimes I don't want to call myself a Christian, but at the end of the day, it turns out that it's still going to be a Christian name. So, there's not much we can do about it. But I will say this. The Bible is the holy Bible, but it's the holy recipe for a happy life. If you go to church, it doesn't matter if you go to a Catholic church, if you go to Pentecostal, if you go to Baptist, it don't matter what the denomination is. If you don't read your Bible, if you don't try to understand it, if you only read scriptures from the New Testament, some from the Old, just for encouragement, just for prosperity, you are not learning anything from God. You need to learn the Old Testament. I'm not talking about memorizing it. I don't have it memorized. I'm not talking about memorizing it, but learn it in a way of you have to understand the history, where it comes from, and where it's going to end up. And today we're going to go ahead and talk a lot about it, but maybe not a lot, but I will be hitting some points on that. For example, you will hear arguments today with the whole Palestine and Gaza, okay, against Israel. You always hear people say, "Free Palestine." Oh, Israel, they're committing genocide. They're killing innocent children and women and this and that. And while that is true, it happens in war. Hamas is still doing their thing. They're not going to stop. It doesn't matter. They say some things in agreement because they know they're going to be taken out. But they will continue to do their evil ways. I don't believe that peace is going to last, to be honest. And so when you have them attacking, then Israel has to defend themselves. Now, here's what I'm going to say. Israel, my man, Paul Salsi, guys, I'm sorry, I'm not saying good morning to you guys. I'm trying to stay on point. Israel It's sending their troopers, their soldiers, into Gaza, letting people know, hey, we're going to attack. We're going to attack. I need you to evacuate. I've seen them. I've seen the videos, them helping people out of their houses, making sure that all the widows, the old ladies are out, the children, etc. And Hamas uses children as a shield. Why? Because even though they know that they will still get killed, they know the world, the soft Christians who don't know the Bible, will crumble and they will be emotional. And they will understand why Hamas is evil. They will just see that there is innocent children being killed. But this is why it's important that you know the history. You got to know the Old Testament and the New Testament. You got to know that evil people were taken out. And whether you think there was innocent children in there or not, it is irrelevant. War is not pretty, and that's why we want to avoid it at all cost. But the reality of things is that evildoers will continue to hide behind innocent people. And if you believe that the innocent should not die, then you will be totally against Jesus Christ dying on the cross for our sins. The most innocent person died for all of our sins. So what are we talking about here? In the Old Testament, during the battles of Joshua and Moses, they would actually go into a certain town and they will kill everything, even their cattle, everything. Men, women, children, cattle, destroy everything. When Jesus comes back, what do you think is going to happen on this coming? He is going to burn, destroy this earth with fire. Everybody. See, we have different ways of seeing innocence. Israel has the right to defend themselves. And all these people around the world, you will know one thing. Everybody condemns Israel. Everybody wants Israel to look like the bad people. Everybody, including China. And you guys already know about China. So, what is the problem? The problem is that we have God's chosen people. Somebody called in a few days ago and argued with me that Israel today, well, that's not the real Israel. Oh, they are this and that. I don't care. I don't care what has changed. It has nothing to do with what people talk about today. God made a promise to Abraham and to every generation that comes after him. Every generation. Everlasting was the promise, meaning forever. God has blessed the seed of Abraham. The Jews are the seed of Abraham. And so are the Arabs. They're also the seeds of Abraham. So what are we going to do when somebody starts fighting? Well, I'm going to give you one little example of Christians that are so-called Christians, but they're not real Christians. Or they call themselves Christians, but they're not knowledgeable. Or they have all these smarts and they have all this literature, but they have no wisdom. Tucker Carlson is one of them. Tucker Carlson goes on Turning Point USA and make this little speech. In this speech, he talks about how we are not supposed to be killing Muslims. What? We're not supposed to be hating Muslims and this and that. And I'm just like, okay. I'm waiting to see what he says. But he says nothing to condemn Muslims at all. Let's not forget that it's Muslims killing Christians, hundreds of thousands throughout the world, in Africa, in the Middle East. He talks about terrorist groups. This is a guy that's supposed to believe in the Bible, and supposedly, I find it so interesting, right? He has knowledge about the deepest secrets, he says, in the government. And yet he has no wisdom or knowledge on the Bible. I find that very, 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 very interesting. Candace Owens. Candace Owens has so much hate for what happened between her and Ben Shapiro. Do I care about Ben Shapiro? No. I think Ben Shapiro is a douche in a lot of things that he says. Is he very smart? Absolutely. They all are. Candace is very smart as well. But Candace Owens has lost a screw somewhere. She missed a step in life. I don't know when she turned. I don't know when she switched. But to call herself a nice Catholic and then tell Ben Shapiro, F you, and to go after Charlie Kirk's wife and what he left behind, going on this rampant of saying, oh, I didn't say this, and then she's insinuating. She's not saying, but she's insinuating, which is very dangerous because the crowd, she has millions of followers. The people who are listening to her, they will believe it as a truth. They will believe it as something that is concrete, and they will go on with it. And that's when they make a mistake. I'm not going to defend Turning Point USA. I think Turning Point USA's biggest mistake is to believe that you are supposed to open up your platform for people to talk shit about each other. That's not what, no, no, that's not what it's about. You see, that is very foolish. I don't know about you, and maybe I also need to do some soul searching. But I've been watching these episodes, from Turning Point USA. And, to allow people to come in and condemn others, like hatefully condemning others, I think that's not Christian. It's not Christian. Like, not the way they're doing it. Like, you can go ahead and criticize somebody, but you cannot condemn it. You cannot condemn people for what they say. Like, for example, like Ben Shapiro got on hardcore, went off on Candace Owens. Oh, he had Nick Fuentes and this and that, and so did Tucker Carlson. And he went off and said his piece, not in a way of education or constructive criticism or anything. No, he just condemned them because they had Nick Fuentes on the show. Do I like Nick Fuentes? No, I think he's a douche. No, I don't like Nick Fuentes. But is it wrong for them to have him on the show? No, absolutely not. That is what your show is about. If they're going to have people to question, try to understand, at the end of the day, if you agree with them, that's on you. But if you disagree, hey, you know what? Thank you so much for coming in. I think that you're on your right to believe what you believe. I believe what I believe. Have a nice day. I think that is okay to have dialogue, to be able to talk back and forth, try to, figure out what arguments we can make to try to make better decisions. I understand with that. I'm 100% on that. But to go on a public show like the one that Charlie Kirk created with Turning Point USA, and to go sit up there and start talking trash about certain candidates, Candace Owens, Megyn Kelly, right? Tucker Carlson. I think you missed the point. I think that, people already know that. Let people get to their own conclusion, but don't use that platform for that. Use that platform so that you can deliver a nice message. When they go back to their podcast, okay, that's when you do that. You see what I'm saying? So I disagree with Turning Point USA allowing all these idiots to get up on stage and just talk stupid stuff about other people. I don't believe that's how it needs to be used. Okay, J.D. Vance, political. Okay, I get it. You know what? He's not there to deliver a Christian message. He's there for political reasons. But anybody that goes out there and calls themselves a Christian and that you're going to deliver a message to the people, I just don't believe that's the way to go about it. I'm sorry, but Turning Point USA has used their platform the wrong way. Now, see, like here, this is my podcast. This is my show. So I can make political views. I can have my own opinions, and it's okay. And I can say, hey, salute my patriots. I can say all that. I can say all that. This is my podcast. Now, if I make I rent a stadium so that I can bring people hope, okay, well, then let's bring some people hope. If I'm going to talk about somebody, this is it right here. I don't know. Maybe I'm hypocritical. Maybe I would say something out in the public. But at the end of the day, if you're going to call yourself a Christian and you're going to go out there and, just make all these names out there, let's be clear. I believe in separation of church and government. Now, there are some times that I will talk about Bible, and there'll be some times where I'll talk about politics. I know where I make my moral decisions, and I know where I stand with each one of those points. That's my prerogative. That's how I want to do my show. But if you get invited to go into a show to address the young people, I really don't think that I will go up there. I mean, maybe I'll throw some names out there to make fun of somebody, but to accuse them of them being sort of like, horrible, evil, I just can't do that. I'll make fun of everybody, but I won't condemn people to hell with that. No, I think it's wrong. Just like I think that Candace Owens has lost some screws. I also believe that she has a lot of interesting points. She's not dumb, but she is also a liar, and I catch her lying, especially when she went on what's his name, Pierce show. He questioned her and some of the motives that she was using. She was lying about everything to defend herself. I used to have a lot of respect for Candace Owens, especially when I saw her hearing in court. About the corrupted Democrats trying to take her down and call her a racist when she's black herself. I don't know what they were thinking about that, but nonetheless, that's a big problem. So we have people here that don't believe in God. So here in the United States, there's a lot of people that don't believe in God. There's fake Christians. There's fake believers. There's people that say they're God-fearing and they have such good message, and yet they have no fear of God. The moment that we lose fear of God, we're not going to listen. We're going to be complacent. Do you know why my children listen to me? My children are afraid of me when I'm upset. So they always try to behave. And when they do something that they know is wrong, I haven't even said anything and they're already crying. Because they have a conviction. They know that they were disobedient. They know they were being rebellious. They know they were being bad. So if we lose fear of God, what is there to give us conviction? The Holy Spirit is there to guide us. But if we have no fear of God because we weren't taught to fear God, we'll never make a change in our life. And we will continue to go down the rabbit hole deeper and deeper and deeper. We got to be smart about things. And you know what? I don't expect anybody on the left to like me. I don't expect anybody to love me. Do I want respect? Absolutely. Because I will give respect where respect is due as well. But I also not going to stand here and allow myself to be lied to and then just take it. That's not me. That's not who I am. So there's a lot of spiritual fights. There's a lot of demons out there. There's a lot of confused children that are growing up in a very sexually perverted, immoral world. We fight every day against the LGBTQ. And you know what happens? The LGBTQ just keeps adding letters to it. They keep adding more perversion to it. It's just the way it is. So I know that this is not really the way that I start my podcast. I get it. But it's been bugging me. I've been researching a lot of information, news and everything, and there is evil everywhere. Oh my gosh, these people can discern. It's dark, man, and it can depress people. It can really bring you down. I can tell you that. It's really bad. You know, like with the things that happened in Venezuela. You know, you got the Democratic Party with the corrupted party that we have now. They are, oh, I want to know what's going on with these boats. I want to know what's going on with Venezuela. I want to know what all these plans are. Schumer with a tail between his legs. Schumer is the biggest traitor, not only to this country, but to the Jewish people. That is crazy. That is crazy. God's going to deal with them. But with that being said, I want you guys to be aware of that we have a lot of spiritual battles, way even worse ahead of us. Just be aware that there is good Christians, there is good Muslims, there's good Hindus, there's good everybody, and every religion has some good and some bad. But what I want you to understand is the only truth is Jesus Christ. He is the only way. He is the only life. That's it. No other religion. So a holy Bible, read your past, read your present, and read your future, all in one book. Everything that has been written in the Bible has been happening. All prophecies fulfilled, and they continue to fulfill the ones that we're living today. Why don't we go ahead and go to... Let's go ahead and start with some CBS news this morning. The DOJ releases more than 10,000 files for Jeffrey Epstein. I was going to say aspirin. Jeffrey Epstein. And, you know, I'm going to go ahead and listen to CBS. I haven't heard them yet, but I found the title very interesting. And why don't we just watch it together? And then you see how I judge things, okay? We're going to let them talk and see what they have to tell us. Now, before you go in here and start clowning that I'm just watching videos and just talking about somebody else, that is exactly what I do. I watch videos to show you why I think the way I think and what you are watching yourself, and then what you tell me on my chat, well, that's what you understood from that clip. Well, this is what my show is about. I'm going to go ahead and look at every single clip out there that I can give you, and then I'll give you my own opinion about it.
More than 10,000 new files from the Jeffrey Epstein case have been released by the Justice Department, and we've been pouring through them all night. Scott McFarland joins us with what we've learned so far. Scott, good morning.
Vlad, a CBS News team of journalists is still combing through the more than 10,000 files just made public just hours ago. And these latest materials offer new details on Jeffrey Epstein's associates, including President Donald Trump. At this hour, the newest release appears to include court records, emails, news clippings, photos, spreadsheets.
Okay, I'm going to ask you something. What is the purpose of getting a hold of these Epstein files? What is the purpose? What is the purpose for the Epstein files? Go ahead. Somebody on the chat, go ahead and tell me. I know there's a few second delay in there. Somebody in the chat tell me, what is the purpose of the Epstein files? The purpose, if I can spell it. I need to get a new keyboard. This one, the stupid space bar is messing up on me. Let's see. Okay, transparency. I like that. All right, transparency. If nothing happened to anyone named, then nothing will happen to POTUS. Hanging with Stormy Daniels. No, that's not what the purpose of the Epstein files is. To bring down Trump. That's right, Father. That's one of them. To identify pedophiles. Okay, I like that. That's true. That's what I want. Yeah, they want to bash. Okay, so I like it. So we want to know what felonies were committed. We want to know who were the pedophiles on the files. I like it. Distraction, sure. I agree with distraction. Probably 90%. I agree with distraction. I think that they're just running out of things to block President Donald Trump. They're running out of things to blame him for everything. So I want you to pay attention because I like the responses. I like that. We're trying to find out who the pedophiles are. We're trying to find out, we want to see transparency. We want to see everything that's going on. Let's see. And this blah, blah, blah. Okay, so we have all of these things, right, that we are expecting to see from the Epstein files. With that being said, let's go ahead and listen to what the news is saying about the Epstein files. Let's see what the main purpose is for the Epstein files being released. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start this again so we don't miss it. Not all the way, just a 15 seconds.
Else just made public just hours ago. And these latest materials offer new details on Jeffrey Epstein's associates, including President Donald Trump. At this hour, the newest release appears to include court records, emails, news clippings, photos, spreadsheets, audio, and hundreds of video files. One revealing Department of Justice email says Trump flew on Epstein's plane many more times than had previously been known. According to the email, Trump is listed as a passenger on at least 8 flights between 1993 and 1996, including at least 4 that co-conspirator Ghislaine Maxwell was on board. The email also notes Trump flew on 2 occasions with women described as potential witnesses in a potential Maxwell case. In a likely already public criminal complaint filed in 2020 by a Jane Doe against the estate of Jeffrey Epstein, the plaintiff alleges when she was 14, Epstein introduced her to Trump at Mar-a-Lago in the mid-1990s. President Trump has never been charged in connection with Jeffrey Epstein, and these newly released documents do not accuse him of any crime. The Justice Department released a statement saying, to be clear, the claims are unfounded and false, and if they had a shred of credibility, they certainly would have been weaponized against President Trump already.
All right, so Scott, we know that Congress originally set a deadline to release all of the files. That was last Friday. What are the repercussions of that?
There are some in Congress who say the administration is just flouting the law. And yesterday, Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer of New York talked about a possible legal challenge against the administration. Unclear how that would work or if that would be effective. But, Vlad, this just extends the controversy as it continues to politically menace this administration.
All right, to be continued. Scott, thank you very much.
Okay, that's not bad. Now, I want to show you something. I don't know if you guys, if you guys do searches, okay? If you guys do a search, I'm going to show you here. So here's a picture of President Donald Trump and Michael Jackson. As you guys know, Michael Jackson was always accused of molesting children, right? Or so they say. Here's another picture. Michael Jackson with 10-year-old Jimmy Safechuck on the tour plane. That's not redacted. Let's see, Michael Jackson. There's one that I want to show you. People are so evil. There's one picture I want to show you. Where are you? Oh, right here. So everybody knows this picture, right? And they show this right here. You see how they blocked in the minor's face in there, whatever? Well, they make it look like, this was, let's see, Reggie Wade. I don't know what I was expecting from the Epstein files, but a picture of Bill Clinton with Michael Jackson, Diana Ross on Epstein private plane. The redacted face. That is Michael Jackson's children. This is what I'm talking about, the news. See, we want transparency. We want to find pedophiles. We want to find all this information. We all agree that is what we want. But the way that they're portraying things is ridiculous. Let's not forget, as Scott Jenkins said on CNN, don't forget, these are the Bill Clinton files, not the Epstein files, Bill Clinton's files. In 96, they were investigating Bill Clinton and the Epstein files. There's a reason why they didn't want to release a lot of this shit before. It wasn't because of Trump. Now, you can make fun of Trump all you want, but it's always been Bill Clinton. I want to know why Hillary Clinton has not said anything at all about any of this. William, yeah, the Jackson shot wasn't even on Epstein's plane. That's right, bro. And so this is what I find very interesting that these people do all the time. I just don't understand why they do that. And of course, Michael Jackson and Epstein. Why not? Look at that. Another Bill Clinton picture with Epstein. But what does the left media tell us? Trump, 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 Trump. Of course, I'm a Trumpster. But the evidence shows Bill Clinton with Epstein just as much as it does Trump and anybody else, any other celebrity with Epstein. See, the thing that people don't understand is just because these people have been friends with Epstein, it doesn't mean they were involved on what the Epstein was doing with regards to this bad thing that was happening. Just because I stayed at a hotel where they used the hotel to film pornography, it doesn't mean that I'm guilty because I'm a guest in that list. That doesn't mean that. Just because I went over there and shook hands with Epstein before I knew any of this thing was happening, it doesn't mean that I was out there in the island doing stuff with him. I find interesting that a lot of the blacked out photos, they were actually adult women. That were not children. They keep saying, "Oh, it's not photoshopped." Well, how are you going to protect the innocent victims? Remember this one? I'm sorry. This one is funny. This one is funny. Supposedly Bill Clinton getting a massage right there. And supposedly that's him on a blue dress. I will never believe that's a real picture. It could be. It could be a real picture, but I can never believe that is a real picture. Bill Clinton on a blue dress, sitting on the couch, chilling. Here's a larger photo. That girl next to him, I don't know who she is. Clinton caught smiling during massage from Epstein's victim. Is that right? Guys, what can you take from this photo? Look at the massage she's getting. At a chair. Not even on a towel, on a bed table. And I'm sorry, but she doesn't look like she's a minor. I'm sorry. I may be wrong. She might be, but she does not look like a minor to me. I don't know. That's just me. Okay? She could be still in her teens, 18, 19, probably. Maybe 20. Again, I've seen women that are 30 years old and they look like teenagers. That's all I'm saying. So unless we actually have proof, birth certificate, etc., with everything, with the timeline where this photo was taken, which is going to be very hard to prove now, I just wouldn't be buying into it. Look at this one. That's a bad quality, but I'm sure that you guys do this, right? You guys actually do some research. You look at all these photos. See, they black out that picture right here of that girl, but we don't know. I think that's actually an adult. Now, if if Hillary Clinton saw these pictures, which I'm sure she has, I am sure she will be pissed off about all of this. Now, do you think it's fair that they take a picture of him in the jacuzzi and then post it as public? Yeah, probably. Probably. Okay, probably. Again, and just because they can have a picture with a minor doesn't mean that they were doing something with a minor. Does that make sense? I remember when I was telling my audience here, I know Trinity was here, I was telling the people here that when I went on vacation to Honduras, listen to this, I'm going to go ahead and tell you again, and then I want you to tell me, honestly, how does this sound? I went on vacation to Honduras with my daughter. My daughter's 12 years old. We shared the same room. We slept together. We had a bathroom. She showered. I showered. I slept with my daughter. Okay? She's always been very attached to me. Everywhere we go. When she felt unsafe, she will grab onto my hand. We went to the island, just me and her. We had 3 beds in the room. She slept with me. So we slept together in the same bed. My daughter is my baby. She is my treasure. And I take care of my daughter. Somebody on the chat said, what a pervert. What do you mean you slept with your daughter? It means that I slept with my daughter. Doesn't mean nothing else. And so if people see me holding hands with my child, holding hands with my niece, holding my little niece on my arm, and they take a picture, does that make me a pedophile? It doesn't. So if I hang out with you and I grab your daughter and I put her in my arm or I sit her on my lap, does that make me a pedophile? No, it doesn't. It doesn't. That's crazy. I'm not trying to defend pedophiles. You should always keep an eye on that. Okay? But it sounds very crazy, right? I'm just trying to make a point. Just because people have pictures with teenagers, it doesn't mean they're sleeping with teenagers. Come on, man. Again, if you see me at a hotel and somebody says, "Oh my gosh, I know you from playing soccer. Can I get a picture with you?" Sure. We are at a hotel in Las Vegas. There is this 15-year-old girl. Somebody slaps a picture of me hugging her. All of a sudden, oh my gosh, Dennis was at Las Vegas hotel with a minor. What a pedophile. You can say all of that. It doesn't make it so. Now, did things happen on the Epstein island? I don't know. I wasn't there. But sure, it's possible. Was Didi doing the same thing? Hey, it's possible. You got to have proof. You got to have proof. So I find that very interesting, right? And I'm just trying to make a point. Again, I'm just trying to make a point. Just because somebody's name was on the list of guests, it doesn't mean that every one of those guests were pedophiles or groping children. Come on. That's not what that means. President Donald Trump, before he was president, was friends with Epstein. They party hardy. Women left and right. He never drank, but women didn't seem like they were groped. Women were laughing, hugging, and kissing him. Oh my God, they were having so much fun in the dark. I don't think there's anything that we can dig into that. They were adults. They make their own decisions. Look how young Melania was on that picture with President Trump and Epstein. He's still with Melania. Every single woman that President Trump, as a man, has been with, has been adults. He doesn't like children like that. You guys are crazy if you think that. That is nuts. But I tell you, who was doing something wrong with their kids, and it's not Trump. I don't even think Bill Clinton did anything wrong with his daughters. So there's that. Let's see what else. Oh, look at that. Oh, George Bush with Michael Jackson. He must be a child molester. He's a pedophile, guys. Another picture with Bill Clinton, Epstein. Oh, what a pedophile. Look at this guy. He looks guilty. Look at her. She looks guilty. Come on, it's stupid to make deductions like that. Right? And because Bill Clinton was hanging out with both of the Bushes. Okay, that didn't sound right. But he was hanging out with both of the Georges. That makes him a pedophile. Because Bill Clinton was with Epstein. Oh my gosh. No, it doesn't. All right, you guys get where I'm going with this. All right? All right, so that's that. Now, that was CBS, I believe. Let's go ahead and watch a clip. Again, I haven't seen this. Let's watch a clip from CNN because today I want to hear what the crazy libtards that come into my chat come and telling me that I'm lying. So I want to hear from CNN. Let's take a look. Trump's name appears in the latest release of Epstein files. This is why I grabbed the clip, just so you know. Now, I want to listen to it, and I want to see what she's going to say. Obviously, I'm a Trumpster, so I already have an idea of how this is going to go. You don't have to be a genius to figure this out. Okay, so let me put that right in the middle here. All right, let's take a look. Bear with me, people. I know you guys probably don't like to watch CNN. We got to do it.
The Justice Department has now released a big new batch of documents in the Jeffrey Epstein investigation, and these include new details about Epstein's one-time friendship with President Trump. Look, there is a lot to go through. We said it's like more than 10,000 pages, so we are digging through this, but this is what is seen so far. In a 2020 email, an assistant U.S. attorney for the Southern District of New York wrote that Trump traveled on Epstein's private jet, quote, more times than previously has been reported, at least 8 times between 1993 and 96. And on a flight in 1993, according to the email, there was just 3 passengers, Trump, Epstein, and what's described as a 20-year-old woman. Being mentioned in a trove of investigatory documents does not demonstrate criminal wrongdoing, a reminder, and Trump has not been accused of being involved in Epstein's crimes. On Monday, the president did seem dismayed that the release of any and all of these files, though, could harm the reputations of individuals he said, quote, innocently met Epstein. Now, remember, he is the man they also signed into law last month, a measure requiring the Justice Department to do just this, release the files.
A lot of people are very angry that pictures are being released of other people that really had nothing to do with Epstein, but they're in a picture with him because he was at a party, and you ruin the reputation of somebody.
As we speak, CNN has a team working through the documents just released. We are going to bring you the findings as they come in. CNN's Caitlin Polans is live in Washington this morning. A lot to work through, and we're just getting started. Caitlin, what do you have so far?
We're just getting started, but the headline here is quite clear. Donald Trump is all over these documents. In that first trove that the Justice Department released.
Okay, this is what I mean. I already know. I know exactly where it's going. So you mean to tell me that in the last 65,000 pages of documents, the only name that you found that was worthy of mentioning was President Trump's name? You're going to tell me 65,000 pages, because I believe it was 10,000 at first, then 55,000, so 65,000 pages. I may be wrong with the number, but I think it's 65,000 pages. You're going to tell me that out of all those documents, you didn't see John Doe was doing this? You didn't think that was news? We're trying to find out what, people? We're trying to find out what? We're trying to find out who are the pedophiles. Who are the people that we're exploiting? Who are the people? But all CNN finds is Trump. Trump. How about Bill Clinton? How about George Bush? How about somebody else? How about those names? They didn't find any other name. But she comes in here and finds one name and she says, President Trump's name is all over this. All over. See, that's why libtards come into my channel saying what they say. I understand them. I truly understand them. Because this fat girl right here, she's already in the mode of, I am going to find anything dirty about Trump. Not about the Epstein files, not about the truth, not about the pedophiles, just anything that says Trump. I am going to dig into this because his name is all over the Epstein files. That, my friends, is that's what drives me crazy about news reporters like this. This fat girl right here, she was on a mission to just say something bad about Trump. Let me, hopefully I'm wrong and maybe that was just the one thing. Let's see.
On Friday, there were just a few very scant mentions of Trump, including in a picture collected with a bunch of other pictures. In this one, there is already one very illuminating email that was sent during the first presidency of Donald Trump while prosecutors in the Southern District of New York were working on the case against Epstein co-conspirator Ghislaine Maxwell. This is after Epstein's death. And one of those prosecutors writes, I'm going to read from this letter because it is what was new to the prosecutors at the time and what is new to us now, receiving these documents now in the public sphere from the Justice.
Hey, look at that. Melania. Yeah, I'm sure she was a minor. Yeah.
Department. The prosecutor, unnamed, an assistant U.S. attorney of the Southern District of New York, wrote on January 8th of 2020, the flight records we received yesterday reflect that Donald Trump traveled.
Wait. Was that even Melania? I think that was Melania, right? Am I wrong? She looks like Melania. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I thought it was Melania. My bad. Somebody confirm. Maybe you guys know more than me on that one.
On Epstein's private jet many more times than previously has been reported or that we were aware. That's the Justice Department in 2020, including during the period we would expect to charge in a Maxwell case. On one flight in 1993, Donald Trump and Epstein are the only two passengers listed. On another, the only three passengers are Epstein, Trump, and a then 20-year-old. On two other flights, two of the passengers, respectively, were women who would be possible witnesses in a Maxwell case. And then the assistant U.S. attorney concludes this email by telling his or her supervisors or superiors in the justice.
So nothing in there says anything about minors. Am I right? You guys heard it, right? Nothing in there says anything about minors.
Justice Department didn't want any of
20-year-old is the youngest that I see on that.
This to be a surprise down the road. That's a direct quote. Now, Donald Trump, he has not commented yet on this particular revelation in the Epstein files coming out overnight and this morning that we are now surfacing for you here. But Donald Trump has downplayed his relationship with Epstein in the past. And of course, this is something that is documenting his connection to Epstein traveling on that private plane in the 90s. So many years ago, Kate. But Trump even yesterday was saying that everyone was friendly with Epstein. He was all over Palm Beach. And Ghislaine Maxwell, this past year, has said in an interview with the Justice Department talking about Trump that she never saw him do anything that wasn't gentlemanly, that was any sort of impropriety at all. That said, this is a document that shows the possibility of Donald Trump having an intersection with Ghislaine Maxwell and the criminal case against her in which she was convicted for sex trafficking of.
That is Melania. Intersection. That sounds pretty fishy the way she used that word in there. He had intersection with Maxwell. Let me guess. Let me guess what people are gonna get out of that one. CNN is just, oh man, sometimes like bleh.
Minors. Clearly, this did not come out in the trial, but it is a pretty revelatory document. And Kate, it's just one page right now. This is the one page that I.
Hold on. She says, it's just one page right now. There's 10,000 pages with Trump's name on it. That's what it sounds like to me that she's trying to say. This is just one page, guys, and his name is mentioned, which has nothing to do with pedophilia. Wait, is that a word, pedophilia? I don't know if that's a word. I made that up, probably. Oh, my God, dude. These people, come on. All right, finish up, lady.
I've walked you through. There are many, many more documents that we are piecing through this morning to see what else may be news here. But Donald Trump is in the latest batch of the Epstein files.
Yeah, much more to come, as Caitlin's laying out very clearly. Caitlin, thank you so much for jumping on. I really appreciate it. Sarah.
All right.
But Trump is on the files. All over. You libtards, you cannot be making this stuff up, man. You cannot make this stuff up. Like, seriously, they are seriously looking so hard. Anything that says Trump on it, they just got to bash it in there, man. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. They are not. Dana says, what the F is an intersection? Yeah, President Trump had intersection with Ghislaine Maxwell. Woo, man. All right. Let's continue with the news, guys. Be serious, man. Come on.
Joining me now is Sarah Kristoff, a former U.S. prosecutor for the Southern District of New York. Thank you for being here. Look, the DOJ has said they are releasing these documents more slowly because they are concerned about exposing victims. But in some of the emails that were released Monday afternoon, by Monday evening, some of those documents were taken down. We now know a victim's name who wished to remain anonymous was not redacted. We also know President Trump's name, as you heard there from Caitlin, appears in several places in the latest dump. This is the second time they've released documents only to remove them again. From what you have seen so far, is this just sloppy work from the DOJ, or do you see this as being more calculated?
So it is a hard job to redact these documents appropriately. The law set forth sort of categories of material that could be redacted. The DOJ has to go through these very carefully, make calls about, really page by page about what needs to be redacted or not. But, they have all of the resources in the world to do that. I mean, they have thousands of lawyers, top lawyers, who could be working on these documents, following a protocol and making decisions. So, I mean, they certainly should be moving quicker than they are, and we shouldn't really be seeing mistakes, particularly mistakes regarding victims' names. But this is a human process and a very laborious, time-intensive process.
And as we go through these, of course, other organizations going through these, the Washington Post saying that the latest tranche of Epstein documents, there was a subpoena sent to Mar-a-Lago in 2021 for records related to the government's case against Ghislaine Maxwell. What do you glean from that?
I agree with you guys. I agree. All the files should be redacted. Otherwise, this thing will never end because I want to know what the hell is going on. And all those, 55 pages of just black pages? Nah, unacceptable. You can redact names, but not the story. At least give me something. I agree, 100%. unredacted documents. That is obviously the case. Now I'm laughing because they are condemning President Trump as a pedophile. It has nothing to do with the kids' victims. It's nothing to do with the victims at all. That's why I'm laughing. In case you didn't understand that, J Money. As you are retarded by nature, I understand why you can't understand why I'm laughing. I am laughing because you guys keep pushing this false narrative of accusing people as if they are guilty, as if you were physically but personally there as a witness. You saw it happen. That's the problem. You were not there, so shut the hell up. Very simple. Unless I am there, I am not putting my hands on the fire for anybody. So we gotta wait. We gotta wait. But what is funny is you think Trump is the pedophile. That is not the case. That's why I'm laughing. Because you guys are wrong. Wrong. And what's gonna happen when the truth comes out and you guys hear that Trump is not responsible? Then what? What am I going to hear from you guys? Give me something. What am I going to hear once it's proven that Trump has nothing to do with that? What are we going to hear? The same bull crap. You know why? Because when we figured out that the Russia collusion was fake, you guys still believe it. When you guys didn't believe us that the election was rigged, you guys still didn't believe us. And guess what? They have found fraud, cheated. People cheated on our election. Over 300,000 ballots. They cheated the election. And you guys still believe the lie that they didn't. So what? What is the problem? What are we looking for? What are you trying to get out of it? Stop it. Seek help.
Yeah, I mean, some of the juiciest stuff really is going to be in internal DOJ emails, right? That's where the prosecutors are talking about their case. That's where they're sort of hashing out the evidence that they're seeing. So we're going to see some good stuff in there, as we already talked about this morning. The other place I think you're going to see really interesting material is in FBI reports, 302 reports, to the extent those are released in unredacted form or partially redacted form, because that's really going to set out the nature of the investigation and the steps that were taken in connection with the investigation.
You just mentioned this. There were a large number of documents showing in this latest tranche the objections filed by Epstein's victims in 2008 after the U.S. attorney in Miami agreed his office would not prosecute Epstein on federal charges in exchange for Epstein to plead guilty to less serious state charges of soliciting prostitution from a minor. What will these documents expose? What will people see in these documents as they're looking at, what happened there in Miami that a lot of victims are very, very upset with?
Yeah, I mean, the course of events here in terms of sort of the Florida prosecution or lack of prosecution and then the subsequent prosecution in the SDNY was sort of very complicated. And we're going to see more details uncovering that, more details about why decisions were made, why charges were brought or not brought. And that, I think, is going to be very illuminating about whether there was sort of political pressure or external forces on decisions that were made internally in these prosecutorial bodies.
There is a lot to go through, and as you said, this is an unprecedented amount of information having to come out of the DOJ, but the law says it was supposed to be out altogether, and now it's coming out in more of a trickle. Sarah Krisoff, thank you so much. I'm sure we will be back when we see more of these documents. Appreciate it.
Jess Michaels is the lead writer of a new statement from Epstein survivors. This statement raises multiple concerns about the way the release of files has been handled. She explained to CNN that no one from the Justice Department reached out to survivors for their input.
Seriously? These people are unbelievable. Seriously. So now the problem is the files are released and somebody's name was out there, which they didn't want their name out there. So now they're saying that, oh my God, they're releasing files that are not redacted. Make up your damn mind. Do you want redacted or non-redacted? Do you want the files released, yes or no? Because apparently all of the victims of Epstein were out on the steps of the Capitol. They were out there in person, crying, telling their drama story, blah, blah, blah. What's the problem? Make up your mind. What do you want? Do you want the truth, yes or no? Or do you want to just make false claims and try to put President Trump in the doghouse? What is the purpose of the Epstein files? That is my question. And we all agree, transparency. We want to find out who the pedophiles are. We want to find out this and that. And then you hate on Trump and the administration, DOJ, etc., because they want to release the files, but then the people don't want it. And then the people want it. They want to release the files. President Trump says, no, Congress, you do it. You vote, and then I'll sign it. Why? Because of shit like this. Because of CNN, legacy media, PBS, ABC, NBC, all this legacy news that are leftist legacy news, by the way, they are the ones that are making this claim. They are the ones that are telling you all these lies, and then the people on the left are believing these lies. So what do we do? Okay, well, I'm trying to figure something out here, and I'm still coming to the conclusion that President Donald Trump is innocent. So I support him 100%. 100%. I voted for him. He is the right man for the job, and that's all that matters. This world is full of corruption. This world is full of immorality. I challenge anybody. Go ahead, put it on the chat. Samuel, how are you, brother? Put it on the chat right here. Put a 1 if you think that President Trump is a pedophile and you don't support him. Go ahead, don't be shy. Put a 1 in the chat if you think President Donald Trump is a pedophile and that you don't support him, obviously. Okay. All right, mods, go ahead and get rid of all these people that put a 1. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Damn. Holy crap. Yeah. J Money, stop double. You guys are double voting here. You think I'm not paying attention? Okay. Now, if you support Muslims, put a 1 on the chat. Oh, this is fun. If you don't support Muslims, put a 2 on the chat. Go ahead. If you support Muslims, put a 1 on the chat. If you don't, put a no on the chat. So, James, I agree. But if he does force the release, if anything goes wrong and the innocent victims start complaining, he will be blamed for it. Okay, so the same people, it seemed like, Jorge doesn't know what the hell he wants to support. All right. Okay, good. That's exactly what I expected to see. Now, I support President Donald Trump and I don't support pedophiles. If you believe that I'm a hypocrite for supporting President Donald Trump, put a 1 on the chat. Let's go. You guys are good on this, man. Put a 1 on the chat if you think I'm a hypocrite for supporting President Donald Trump. One, if you think I'm a hypocrite for supporting President Donald Trump. Oh, the love, the love. Okay, I got three. I got three people being honest, and the rest of them have figured out why I'm asking. He's on the files, just not the way you think, Jorge. Third party needs to make the redactions, not Bundy. That I agree with. But only the Attorney General can do that, I believe. All right. So here we go. If I am, I see some people figure out why I'm asking these questions. That's why they didn't put a 1 anymore. If I am a hypocrite for supporting President Donald Trump because you think he's a pedophile. Now, let me tell you who the hypocrite is. Those who says that he's a pedophile and yet they support a religion who actually has a holy prophet who is a pedophile. Muslims are pedophiles. They marry minors and then have intercourse with minors. You are hypocrites for supporting pedophiles. And that is a fact. That is a fact. You can redact victims' names without redacting 90% of the stuff in the files. That's covering up, I think you meant crimes they don't want published. I agree. 100% unredacted. 100%. So you see, my friends, you can go on some make-believe or an assumption of something that has not been proven. And yet you condemn me and everybody else who supports President Trump, even though there's no proof yet. His name is on the files. As I was giving my example earlier, my name can be in a name of a hotel that has committed horrific things. Doesn't mean that I was involved. My name will also be there, but doesn't mean that I was involved. My name will also show that I took a picture with teenagers that were visiting the hotel that day. That doesn't mean that I was sleeping with them. Not at all. So there is that. But the book, the Quran, tells us. Any version of the Quran tells you that the Prophet Muhammad married a girl who was 6 years old. I thought it was 8, but is 6 years old. The only rule was that he could not sleep with her, sexually know her, until she was 9. And you supported Muslims. You support pedophiles. Go find out. Go ask a Muslim right now. Ask him. If I wanted to marry your daughter, she's only 14, am I allowed? They're not going to say no. They're going to say, well, how are you going to take care of her? That's it. That's right. And if they say no, they are against the Quran. They are against the Prophet Muhammad, who they love so much. My right, Koslav? Oh, man. Jason, 100%, bro. 100%. She was 6 years old, bro. 6 years old. And you know why they agree with it? Because he said God showed her to him in a dream. I'm telling you, I was raised in the church, Baptist, Catholic, Reform, Evangelical, Apostolic. I've been raised in the church all the time, but I've never been a true believer in God. I always had this feeling like there is something out there. You know, it's now I know God. I know who was caressing me in my sleep. Now I know who was caressing me as I did my homework on top of a mango tree. Now I know who was there comforting me when I was in pain, when I was being neglected, when I was being hated, when I was being rejected. Now I know who was there with me to make me strong again. Nobody can take my faith away from God. It's that simple. So I agree with you guys. It is disgusting, but we also have to be careful on how we go and judge people without proof. Again, if I take pictures with teenagers at a hotel, it doesn't mean I'm sleeping with them. If I say I slept with my daughter when I was in vacation, it doesn't mean that I'm having sexual relations with my daughter. That's not what that means. So be very clear. You will be judged in the way that you judge others. You can call me a liar if I lie. But if I'm telling the truth, you are the liar. Raising false testimony is a lie. Okay? So I want you guys to be very aware of that. And I think that I made my point with the Epstein files. I've been giving you guys a lot of chances to really think about this. I posted 3 questions to you to show you that you are the hypocrite. I'm going to ignore that double liar there. I'm going to assume that it was a mistake. You say one more negative thing on here, bro, without any type of substance, you will be gone. Mr. Jorge, you know I've been very patient with you. You cannot deny that. All right, with that being said, let's go ahead and go to the FBI ignore Epstein warnings for nearly 10 years. Let's see what's going on, Newsmax.
The Trump Justice Department releasing more than 13,000 new Epstein files, but the DOJ is facing backlash already over the so-called limited release. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche posting the Department of Justice publicly released materials related to Jeffrey Epstein under the Epstein Files Transparency Act. Additional responsive materials will be produced as our review continues, consistent with the law and with protections for victims. Due to the volume, the DOJ says they will be releasing the files on a rolling basis. With the ongoing release of the files, Attorney General Pam Bondi announced that their mission for justice is still the same. Writing in part, the Department of Justice previously stated, "We will bring charges against anyone involved in the trafficking and exploitation of Jeffrey Epstein's victims. We reaffirm this commitment and ask any victim to please come forward with any information pertaining to any individuals who engage in illicit activity at their expense." Okay, so this is one of those things where we've all wanted answers with Jeffrey Epstein, but does this release end up causing more questions than answers, Mercy? Are we going to just keep hearing about it?
Yeah, I don't think the story's going away anytime soon, especially when you have the case of Maria Farmer, who basically went to the FBI, filed a complaint back in 1996, and the FBI ignored her, Alex. I mean, that is just simply outrageous.
Yeah.
They literally said that her story was fabricated, and they didn't even get a response till about 10 years later. It just shows that there was no concern about helping these victims. It was trying to solve it through, these sweetheart deals.
Yes.
And basically protect Jeffrey Epstein. It is absolutely disgusting. And it's why you're seeing that there's a bipartisan approach in basically ensuring that these files are released.
2 things that you just mentioned. First, looking into the latest Epstein file drop, it's been revealed a woman who once worked for Jeffrey Epstein filed a complaint to the FBI, which Mercy referenced, about his interest in child pornography specifically. That was back in 1996.
Thank you, Draken. You say don't judge people without proof, yet you and MAGA judge all Democrats without proof. You forgot to put in what? Go ahead, tell me something. Tell me something that we are blaming Democrats without proof. Now, remember, I'm just my voice. Okay, I support Make America Great Again, absolutely 100%. But this is my voice. Give me one thing that you think that I am blaming Democrats without proof. Here is one, just to save you some time. I blame Democrats for protecting illegal criminal aliens. I blame Democrats for going down to El Salvador to bring back an illegal immigrant who is a gangbanger for the MS-13. I blame Democrats for shutting down the government. They voted 14 times for it. So give me one thing that I can say that I blame Democrats without proof, and then we can research it. We can talk about it. I'll let you think about the one, okay?
Almost a decade before investigators began looking at his behavior, the woman Maria Farmer praised the release of the files, saying, "I've waited 30 years. I can't believe it. They can't call me a liar anymore." She also said she was grateful to be vindicated, but heartbroken that the FBI did not take steps to stop Epstein until years after her report.
That right there. I know you guys think I'm a hypocrite because I'm watching Newsmax. I don't watch Newsmax all the time. But you see this right here? I agree. I agree with the victim. It says, I waited 30 years. I can't believe it. They can't call me a liar anymore. Ms. Farmer says she was grateful to be vindicated, but heartbroken that the FBI did not take steps to stop Mr. Epstein until years after her report. That, my friends, is true. That is a problem, but the problem doesn't start right now with Trump. The problem started 1996. That's Bill Clinton's files with Epstein. Guys, Bill Clinton's files with Epstein, and it was dropped. It was done. Finished. Democrats buried that information. They dropped it. Who knows? Maybe they took out Epstein. Maybe he was going to say something. Maybe he was going to try to make some plea bargain. Before you tell me that Maxwell was taken to a nice, soft facility after the lawyer Blanchett talked to her, which was President Trump's personal lawyer, I believe. Before you say that, there's two reasons why they would say that, okay? So one of them, yes, it could be a deal, a bargain, that she would give out some names with proof. And then, of course, maybe we can reduce the sentence and put her in a more comfortable jail, for say. The other thing is that maybe she's being threatened and they cannot afford for her to be killed in jail, like Epstein. So if you want to argue that after she talked to the lawyer, that she got 2 days later, she moved to a less secure facility, you can say that. But the fact is, Epstein is dead, right? Maxwell, for now, needs to be in a place where she's not being threatened. Which, by the way, I think she's going to be threatened no matter where she goes. But that's just an observation. Just an observation. But anyway, see, the FBI ignores that. See, that nothing to do with Kash Patel, as they mentioned before. Nothing to do with President Trump, as they keep mentioning every single day for the last 8 years. Right?
And so you mentioned her, Marcy, but you also mentioned that 2008 plea deal. And that's something that I've often questioned. I thought it was so abnormal, okay, that there was included in that plea deal immunity for co-conspirators. Mm-hmm. It's something I really haven't seen much of. I think it was specifically named for Rob. I mean, how should we be looking at that or going all the way back to 1996?
Yeah, I think we should go back to 1996. Who happened to be president in 1996, if not Bill Clinton, who had several photos that were part of this recent release and quite incriminating, if you ask me. So not only was it
Draken, I don't know if I missed your one thing that we said against Democrats is not true. If I missed it, just go ahead and put it back on the chat, okay? I'm doing a bunch of stuff.
The Clinton administration, but then it was the presidents who followed, and you just have to wonder what was going on in 2008 in that plea deal.
There you go. That's. I haven't watched this clip, by the way. That's what I'm saying. So back to 1996, Bill Clinton's files with the Epstein. He just said it, 2008. We need to go back to 1996. And we want to clarify why. Why was there a deal in 2008? I'm sorry, I was looking for a response from Draco only because he's been putting super chats with legit comments. I don't see it, Draco. So if you want to put the comment on there, Trinity, see if you can catch it for me, please.
As you raised, to why
Let me go
the
back to
government
this
would
guy.
decide to 1996. Who happened to be president in 1996? If not Bill Clinton, who had several photos that were part of this recent release, and quite incriminating, if you ask me. So not only was it the Clinton administration, but then it was the presidents who followed. And you just have to wonder what was going on in 2008 in that plea deal, as you raised, to why the government would decide to go down that path when there seems to be so much incriminating evidence here about Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah,
That's a legit question, right, J Money? Let's see. Dennis is probably not on the list, but wants Maxwell's sentence to be reduced. Why? So I mentioned it already. You can make a deal. See, even if she's a pedophile, right? You got to remember this. She's also a victim, not just a perpetrator. She is a victim. She was born into this. She was forced into this. Okay, so in a way, she is a victim, and that is the outcome. They forced her. They groomed her as a minor. They groomed her into it. So it's easy for her to just go ahead and do it. I'm not saying she's innocent, but what I'm saying is she's also a victim. You didn't know that? You didn't know that? Yeah, man, she is a victim, whether you like it or not. How do you think these minors got there? You think they just went to Mexico? They just went to other foreign countries and nobody knew about it? Somebody knew about it. Where's the parents? What were the parents doing? What were the family members doing? Were they reported kidnapped? Huh? I'm just saying, you got to call it like it is, bro. I don't play no stupid games. She is also a victim. As a minor, she was groomed into it. Again, I'm not saying she's innocent, but she was also a victim. With that being said, even if she deserves to be in jail for the rest of her life, if she turns out a lot of bigger names that actually were doing stuff with minors, then she will get a deal, change her identity, maybe let free somewhere, go anywhere in the world, and become a new person, new identity, etc. But we will have a lot more pedophiles captured and be brought up to justice. That's how that works. Whether you like it or not, it is irrelevant. But that's how that works. Otherwise, you get nothing. So, what does she say? Well, she said President Donald Trump had nothing to do with minors. You guys didn't like that answer. You will never accept the answer. She also said that President Clinton, even though he was on Lolita Express 28 times, he was never with a minor. You don't believe her, but yet you believe every other liar on the Democratic side. Where were you back in 1996, 97, 98, 99, 2000, 2001, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8? Where were you talking about Epstein files? Where were you for the innocent victims? Where were you trying to figure out what happened? Where were you? Where were you? Shut the hell up if you don't understand what's happening. At least I'm trying to break down what I consider to be somewhat of what the truth is. And the truth is that they are threatening her life in prison. Do you want her to end up like Epstein? Of course not. Whether you like her or not, she needs to be protected. They're not done with her, so they need to protect her one way or another. So if you really want answers, if you really think that she's ever going to say anything, you need to protect her. Until then, shut up. You guys don't help. You're so blocked on President Trump is guilty. What can I do? I tell you all kinds of scenarios, and you still don't believe. All right, let's go ahead and continue.
30 years. It involves, you mentioned President Bill Clinton. We've seen pictures surface of him with a number of women who have their face blacked out, which obviously signals that they were underage at the time. I guess, Jason, I know you've been passionate about this. We're talking about Bill Clinton, but to be fair, like, this has been something that has been kept quiet for under many presidents, Republican and Democrat alike. So do you feel like you're getting any more answers?
Right now, I feel like there's, I'm with a lot of people who think that this is a cover-up. I think there are a lot of things that we're not getting. They did not meet the deadline. They're clearly breaking the law. Kash Patel, during the summertime, I believe it was in July, said he had looked at the files, that there was no one else involved other than Jeffrey Epstein. And all of a sudden, now they haven't looked at the files and they're releasing it piecemeal, and it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people should be frustrated. It's not just, it's not about who was president at the time. I mean,
or who
Donald
controlled the
Trump was his best friend at the time in 1996. So, I don't think that's necessarily material. It's what we need to know is what we can actually prove and what is in those files. And we're not getting them when you redact 550 pages of the files. That is literally 2 or 3 dissertations worth of
By the way,
documents
they were not
completely
best
blacked
friends.
out.
Let's make that clear. President Trump called him a creep. Threw
According
him
to
out
Jeffrey
of
Epstein, they were best
Mar-a-Lago. I think the best friend is Bill Clinton
that's
and
not what
Jeffrey
Jeffrey
Epstein.
Epstein said.
And someone who's not saying anything is Hillary Clinton. Boy, we haven't heard a peep from that woman.
Yeah.
Information.
I think I said that. I think I said that. Where is Hillary Clinton? What's up, brother? I see you. Let's see, Qwerty. Let's see. Yeah, we don't and we won't. Okay, you'll never understand. You'll never get it. I get it. I get it. Let's see. Dice. Yeah, 67.89. I won't even try to comment on him, bro. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about him. Okay, let's see. What else we got? Anybody else got a comment in here? If it were their kids, they would be livid. Yeah. The fact is, you need proof, period. You need proof. You know how many people came out and started saying stuff about Michael Jackson back in the day? Many people. How come nobody for Bill Clinton? Even President Trump. If he was back then, he had nothing to do with being president. How come they didn't bring him to court? If President Trump was in those files and he was guilty of something, they would have brought them up. How many people got charged from the trial on the Epstein files? Did anybody go to jail besides Epstein and Maxwell? Let me see. Who has been... Let's see. Don't want that. Well, this is what AI says, okay? This is just what AI search Gemini says. While thousands of names appear in the newly released Epstein files, thousands of names appear, but the only name that these news outlets out here are saying is President Trump. Not even Bill Clinton. They know Bill Clinton is in there, right? They know Bill Clinton has been to the island. But you notice they don't mention Bill Clinton. This is what I want you libtards to listen to, especially Jay Money, which is so damn confused. He thinks he's so smart because he's got all this information on there, but he doesn't know that all the information he has are lies. I want you to think with common sense. Try to rationalize. Get outside the box and think outside the box. Think about it. Thousands of names appear in the newly released Epstein files. And yet, the only name they seem to focus and emphasize on is Trump. Why not Bill Clinton, CNN? Huh? Why not Bill Clinton? Tell me about that. Let's remember, it was Bill Clinton, 96, the original. 1996. Bill Clinton is the original. Why Trump? Come on. It's a legit question. Why Trump? You know why? You know why. We all know why. They're trying to find something on him, but they're not going to find anything, man. It is impossible. $29 years. 30 years. Okay, let's say 30 years now. 3 decades. 3 decades. And they found nothing on Trump, obviously. Otherwise, they would have brought him up. Now, you can make the case, well, you know, he was friends with President Trump, Bill Clinton. You can make that argument. But, yeah, Trump is the best POTUS ever, but the leftists, they don't like him. You know why? Because they lost. We won. We got 4 years with President Donald. Oh, my God, I love our president. I love our president. And I am glad that people on the left are fighting me and arguing with me because it makes me dig deeper. And I keep finding that President Trump is even more innocent than I thought. Anyways, while thousands of names appear in the newly released Epstein files from December 2025 and earlier on ceilings, no high-profile associates have been charged with new crimes directly because of these releases. Thank you, QWERTY. Or Pizza Guy. You want me to go by Pizza Guy or QWERTY? I know you as QWERTY. Then why doesn't Bundy release the files and follow the law? They found plenty. Maxwell case only finished when Republicans had the House and Senate. So, the reason that I can tell you myself, okay, the only reason I can think of is something happened. Here's the thing. So President Donald Trump, okay, I know I love President Donald Trump, but just hear me out. President Donald Trump has been hit left and right. It's like, damn if I do, damn if I don't, right? So President Trump has been hit with all types of false testimonies against him. Okay, Stormy Daniels. You know what? The lawyer effed up. President Donald Trump said, hey, do what you got to do to make this go away. The lawyer's wisdom and brilliance says, let's use some campaign money because you're a billionaire, but you might not have this money. Let's use some campaign money. And then he threw President Trump under the bus. Well, guess what? He was clear of that as well. And I believe Stormy Daniels now is being asked to pay over, I don't know how many millions of dollars back to President Donald Trump. It's not going to happen, I'm sure. But anyway, so they have been raising all these false claims against President Donald J. Trump. So now, when people say, release the files, right? He released 10,000 pages of the files. Okay, here you go. Get something to munch on so you don't get so confused. And then people say, oh, yeah, you know what? I voted for President Trump because he was going to release the files. And, well, now I'm pissed off. He didn't release the file, blah, 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 blah. So what does President Trump think? Well, let me think. I'm a dragon. I'm a Gemini. I'm a double dragon. And so the way that I think is, wait a minute. These people have been on me like white on rice. Anything that I say, anything that I do, even when everything I say and do is good, they always go against me and find a way to try to incriminate me. It doesn't matter how good I do. It doesn't matter how good I do. So what is his thinking? His thinking is, hold on, essay. His thinking is, all right, I am going to force Congress. Yeah, Congress. I am going to make sure that every single Democrat votes for the files to be released. So when they come back to me and tell me that I released the files, nope. That was you, the Democrats, that released those files. I signed it because you asked for it and you wanted it. What is the first thing that just happened on CNN? Oh my gosh, some innocent woman now is complaining about President Donald Trump, about Pam Bundy, about the DOJ, Kash Patel. They're complaining my name should have never been on redacted. Nobody asked me. Nobody asked for my opinion. Well, guess what? That's Democrats' fault now. That's Congress' fault now. President Trump says, hey, I warned you. But now he can say, hey, I signed it. I released it. But, it's not me no more. That's on you guys. I gave you the go ahead. That's all on you, Democrats. That is all on you, Republicans in Congress. You guys voted for the files to be released. It was your call. It was your duty. It was your doing. It was your saying. So now you have to show the face to the innocent victims who are going to be exposed even when they don't want to. So what does the DOJ do? Okay, so one of the ladies on CNN says that it's a very hard job to do because they have to go through every single file and they do have to protect the innocent. So I don't like this black pages. Okay, that's stupid. Okay, but it is a process. You cannot release all those files. Can you believe it? Can you imagine the shame, the embarrassment that's going to go out through so many innocent families, victims? People don't think about that, man. They just think about their selfish reasons. I want to know. You guys are going to end up like the German lady from the movie from Indiana Jones with the crystal skull. I want to know. I want to know more. Her eyes burning out with fire, and she still wants to know. She wants to see more. Well, guess what? Her own greediness of knowing everything got her killed. All right. I can take a pause. Thanks for the super chat there, Liberty for All. 1996, Clinton was president. Donald was a close friend. Yes, I mentioned this with the Clintons, and he also he was a Democrat. Why this didn't come out? Money. Don't forget, back then Trump was a very popular, very popular. I agree, but who else was friends? George Bush, Sr., Jr., the whole family. What about everybody that attended the Clinton Foundation? What about those murders that they keep saying that the Bill Clintons did? Nobody talks about that. But let's talk about Epstein files and President Trump's being in there. Right? Let's talk about that. But let's not talk about the murder case. Let's not talk about this. That's just theories. Right? So it's theories when it's the Clintons, but it's a fact when it's Trump. It's very interesting. Very interesting how they defended crazy Biden and crackhead Hunter, but then they went after Junior and President Trump. You see, I see both sides, guys. I see the attacks here, and I see the attacks here. Okay, what's going on here? Well, these guys are billionaires. Yeah, they're business owners. Yeah, they're doing that. Okay. They do a little crack? Okay, maybe a little crackish. Okay, let's give them that. But here's a real crackhead. Here's the corrupted president. When he was vice president, he threatened, which is illegal, unlawful. You guys on the left side didn't say jack squat about this, but he said, if you don't fire this guy who's investigating the company where his son is working at, I'm just going to stop giving you the funds. And well, son of a bitch, he says. By the end of the day, they fired him. You Democrats didn't say anything about that, did you? That's right. You got to pay attention. You got to pay attention. All right. Let's see what else we got in here. We're going to ignore all the retards that come here every day because they always say the same thing. They never say anything that I need to address. So like the pizza guy, okay? The pizza guy is QWERTY. Now, QWERTY has actually had some good points. I understand he's a blue guy. He's a Democrat. I get it. He picked a side, okay? He picked a side. That's okay. I used to be Democrat as well. Remember that. But it's okay if you pick a side. But at some point, you have to say, hey, F this party. I don't like what they're doing to my people. I don't like what they're doing to my country. And what is the biggest thing that I'm against? Illegal immigration. What is the second thing that I'm against? Well, I am against these Muslims that are trying to take over our laws, our country, and our freedoms. I think that's pretty damn good to start, okay? And I wish that everybody would do the same. All right? So, with that being said, let's go ahead and go all the way to... No, let's not go there. Let me hear something about this Tyler guy. Our justice system is so phenomenal that, well, you take a listen for yourself.
Assassin Tyler Robinson are attempting to get the entire prosecution team removed from his case. They allege one prosecutor's relative was in attendance at the shooting, and that relative was sending real-time text messages describing the traumatic event. The defense claims the messages were shared with the prosecution team before any conflict review or ethical screening, and they believe a right to a fair trial has been violated. Fox News contributor Donna Rotuno joins me now. Donna, will this move by the defense work?
No, again, I've said all along, defense attorneys have to do what defense attorneys have to do to protect their clients' rights. But I don't understand how in any way, shape, or form a relative, and we don't know how close of a relative, but does it matter, a relative of a prosecutor being an attendee at an event that witnessed something. They witnessed it regardless of who the prosecutors are. So I don't understand how this creates a level of unfairness in any way to Tyler Robinson. If the prosecutor was related to Tyler Robinson, then yes, there would be a conflict of interest. But what is the conflict about a witness to talk about what happened? I don't see this going anywhere.
It's part of the defense strategy.
Correct.
Throw it against the wall, see what sticks. If you were the prosecution team, though, would you maybe throw the court and the defense a bone saying, okay, this one individual that's connected to a relative who at the event, we'll kick this person off the team just to preserve sort of sanctity of case for appeal, because you don't want anything disrupting an appeal where, quite frankly, prosecutors should win this case.
Absolutely, and they could do that, but the defense argument, I think if they offer that as a concession, the defense argument is going to be you're all part of one office and it shouldn't matter. So if you're making that concession, then you should make a concession for everybody to just recuse themselves and or, agree to be disqualified. So I don't think that's going to happen. We'll see. Now, should the prosecutor that's related to that witness cross-examine or put that witness on the stand? No, so they should not. But again, we don't even know if this witness is actually going to testify. Just because they saw something, just because that's part of the case file, doesn't mean that is a witness that would be called. And frankly, there were thousands of witnesses out there that day, so the prosecutors may just say, we're not using them anyway.
Yeah, they're not going to call all 3,000, 8,000, however many people witness that. That's not allowed, and it's not going to happen. Before we let you go, I do want to get your thoughts on a horrific case out of Florida.
Says Satan, God bless that young man. Free him. Smo, what the hell do you have in your brain? You got shit for brain. You have, oh my gosh, dude. You are ridiculous. You are ridiculous. And Jasper, that's not how you spell voted. It's with a small V. V for Victor. All the illegal Mexicans that come into my chat is ridiculous. Why is that? Why do you guys come in here? I like how everybody say, oh, look at him, Lord, listening to Fox. Well, they didn't say nothing when I put CBS on. They didn't say nothing when I put CNN. But the moment that I put Fox on, Newsmax, oh my God, the devil is here. What a hypocrite. Come on, man. You pick your side, I pick mine, okay? We'll agree to disagree on that.
Detailed this case before. We're not going to go through the gory details the week of Christmas. It's just not appropriate. But we do need to get into it because justice does need to be served. Following their indictment on Friday, those two teenage boys suspected in the murder of 14-year-old Danica Troy will reportedly be charged as adults. Under Florida law, how does charging them as adults differ than if they were charged as juveniles? Because I know each state has different ways they approach this.
Correct. So this is the right decision. I think this should be a decision in any jurisdiction, given the horrific nature of this case. These boys should be charged as adults. And what that means is they will face the same penalties as adults. In juvenile court, usually in most jurisdictions, the longest period of time you can serve is until 21 years old. Sometimes it's even 18. So this is a situation where now they're looking at life in prison or potentially worse. So I think that this was the right decision given the circumstance, but the real change is the penalty.
Quickly, let's get into the potentially worse. Under Florida law, if you are a minor at the time of a killing, are you eligible for the death penalty?
So that's a good question, and I'm not sure what the answer is. Most jurisdictions will give grace if the person is a minor, even though they're being charged as an adult. But you know, these laws are fluid. They change depending on who's in power. So I don't know how that law stands today, but...
That's crazy. 14 years old, and this guy's committed a very heinous murder. And then yet people like Smoes and like this other dumbass in here in my chat are talking about freeing a murderer. These people are sick. These people are sick. You need to seek help. Okay, sis, thank you. Thank you for letting me know. I appreciate you. I have a clip that I'm going to show you guys. All these libtards that are in here. This is for you. Now, if you're not watching this live, you probably won't be able to watch this clip because if it's copyrighted, it's going to be deleted. Okay, so if you're watching the replay of this show, you won't be able to see what I'm going to show these people.
What the hell is that? A portal! A pathway to another dimension!
Don't think we want to go that way.
I want to know. I want to know. Tell me. I'm ready. I want to know.
This is the libtards. This is the libtards asking for the Epstein files and trying to find Trump guilty.
Back! Back! Come on! Back! God damn it, now! I can see.
Use your legs, Mac. I can't do it alone. Josie!
I'm gonna be all right.
Nope.
No more! Go over it! Enough! Enough!
Moral of the story, it's you libtards want to find out everything about the Epstein files, but in reality, what you're going to find is everything is going to go against you. You're going to find out that the party that you support is the most corrupted party. It is no longer a Democratic Party as you knew it. That is the moral of the story. What is the other moral in the story? The man that was trying to grab all the gold that does not belong to him, he was also gone, and so were all of the followers. So you guys want to continue on that rabbit hole You guys can continue on that rabbit hole, but the rest of us are going to stick to facts, to proof. If President Trump was found that he was in there and there's video and there's proof that he was doing these things, then so be it. He will need to be punished. And we will have to settle with J.D. Vance, which is also going to be a great president, by the way. I endorse J.D. Vance for 2028. And that's all that matters. So for any of you guys who saw that little clip with me, fantastic. Because if you're watching the replay of the show, you will not see that clip because I'm going to have to delete it. I am sure it's going to be copyrighted. So that clip will be deleted. But the fact stands, people, you keep searching and you say you want to know more. Release the Epstein files. I want to know more. That's right. You guys are going to be proven to be ignorant, and you will pay for that. Anyways, all right. So Epstein files completely done. I believe. Let's see. As Mo says, do you honestly not think Trump was involved with the Epstein? Yes, 100%. Remember, fellas, you guys heard it here first. That Dennis Herrera said 100%. President Donald Trump is not a pedophile. You can take that to the bank. If you don't believe me, that's all right. We'll agree to disagree. But that's what I believe. That's what I believe. All right, let's go ahead and jump out. This is done. Jennifer, Vance is a moron and won't last a week. Jennifer, this is how I know you are a moron. You libtards. You guys just crack me up. You guys make my day. 2 hours on this live, and you guys are already cracked me up 3 times. You guys are phenomenal. I do want to say, guys, if you guys are new to my channel, please subscribe, like, and share this video. For those of you who are members in my channel, I want to say thank you so much for joining the Dennis Herrera Show membership. Thank you very much, guys, for that support. And Robert, calm down. Calm down, my friend. We're not there yet. We still got a couple of more things to go over. Let's go ahead and jump all the way down to, you know what, let's keep it on the West Coast for now. And let's go ahead and go down south. And not the way you think, you perverts. Let's go down south to California. California exposed for $42 million in taxpayer money spent defending, guess who? For all of you beautiful people out there that love that due process for illegal aliens.
Administration's crackdown on illegal migration and the removal of criminals from the country. The U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services telling Fox News Digital, since President Trump's second inauguration, they've referred more than 14,000 immigration cases to ICE for national security and fraud concerns. 182 of those numbers confirmed or suspected national security risks. The agency also issuing a record-breaking 196,000 notices to appear to put migrants into removal proceedings. I spoke with White House border czar Tom Homan about the current state of affairs at the border. He joined me on Sunday Morning Futures.
We have the most secure border in history of the nation, which saves lives. Look, when 95% less people are coming, how many women aren't being sexually assaulted making that journey? How many children aren't dying making that journey? How many Americans aren't dying from drug overdose?
Hold on, Mr. Holman. Let me be clear. Let me be very, very clear. There is a reason why illegal immigration is a thing. You don't understand what the hell you are talking about, Hammer. Get this through your thick skull of emptiness in that brain of yours. It's not just about people coming over. It's about a national security problem. Criminals come to every single country to destroy it. If we allow illegal immigration to happen, you moron, you're putting women at risk. You're putting children at risk. You're putting our nation at risk. This is how the cartels and the drugs get through. They get through even if we are secured. Imagine unsecured. How dumb are you? I have family that come here illegally. They almost died on the way. Women are being raped. Children are being raped. All these people are being abused. Trafficked through. We saw a video, a report of Chabalita store. Kidnapped underage children forced to work for being brought here illegally. The cartel, Mexico, and all these people, they make billions of dollars on illegal immigrants that sell everything that they have, land, houses, etc., to make the journey to come here illegally. You idiotic people are guilty for everything bad that happens in this country and to those people that come in this country illegally. Let's make it that clear. Let's make that clear. You are the reason why this country is doing what it's doing. With that being said, why don't you listen and find out why illegal immigration is why we are against it. Listen to Holman. No, human rights has nothing to do with legal rights. You're confusing human rights with legal rights. It's not the same. Not the same. And I wish, you know what? I'm going to find out if I can go on a ride along with ICE so I can see how they take some of you dumbasses into jail and then get deported from this country. And then plus, of course, I want a selfie just so I can have that.
Look, when 95% less people are coming, how many women aren't being sexually assaulted making that journey? How
There
many
you go.
children aren't dying making that journey?
Yep.
How many Americans aren't dying from drug overdoses?
Yep.
But most importantly, I want to talk to you because you're right. There's been a change. There's been an awakening of the younger folks. I look forward to talking eye to eye with them all over today because they are wakening up. I think what happened to Charlie Kirk has started a movement that can't be stopped. And I'm happy to be a part of that and educate these people on the truth. Not what you read in the media. I'm going to educate them on the truth of what President Trump's actually doing for this country.
DHS Secretary Kristi Noem is now offering $3,000 to any illegal who wants to self-deport by December 31st. You've got 7 days.
Oh,
a
shit.
new, quote, home for the holidays effort.
$3,000, bro. Hammer, get your ass ready. Mark, get your ass ready. Who else? Who else is ready to go? $3,000, guys. Free plane ticket back to your country. Manuel, he's probably in here still lurking around. $3,000 once you arrive in your country. Free plane ticket. Take advantage. Spread the word. Share it. Make sure you memorize it. And anytime you see some sort of Mexican or Hindu or somebody that might be heavy accented like myself, go ahead and let people know that there is a $3,000 reward for self-deporting. You can help unite families for the holidays. Time, it's on my side, and yet he is. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And the haters just hate it. The jealousy, the envy, that an immigrant from Central America came to this country, followed the law, respects the law, loves the country, became a resident alien, became an American citizen, and now fights to protect the United States of America from every illegal immigrant that comes here to cause harm to the people and the nation and try to destroy our economy. And guess what? They hate it. They just don't like it. But I'm going to tell you what. Thank you, my patriots, for your love and your support. I am here with you. Trump's Latin people, Trump's Asians, Trump's gays, everybody for Trump, baby, because America first means putting America's people benefits, safety, and prosperity first above all nations.
Emily, your reaction for this Home for the Holidays new program?
I mean, it certainly sounds cheaper than the millions of taxpayer dollars funding illegal aliens to live there, their housing, their Medicare. As a higher education reporter, I can tell you that universities across the country are using taxpayer dollars to fund scholarships, resources, and even free legal services for illegal aliens here in this country and their family members. I reported this year that the California State University system has used over $42 million in taxpayer funds to provide free deportation defense to illegal aliens and their family members. So yes, this $3,000 sounds a little bit cheaper than that.
Yeah, what do you think, Mark?
Well, look, it's a good deal for them. They get $3,000 for the holidays. And it's a good deal for us because it saves us $17,000. And, you know, probably the biggest takeaway here is that President Trump, when he came into office, he promised results. He promised that he was going to enforce the law. And that's exactly what he's doing. He's enforcing the law, providing us with results. And per Tom Homan's comments, we have the most secure border in the history of this country, thanks to his policies. And the fact that there were 182 national security risks flagged, let's be honest, that's not immigration. That's what we call infiltration. And we need to ensure that we maintain a secure border and do whatever it takes to not allow those people in the country again.
Well, more than 125 Democrat lawmakers are urging the DHS, Department of Homeland Security, to withdraw this proposed rule, which affects green card eligibility, Mark. The rule would allow denial of green cards for immigrants who use public benefits. So if they use Medicaid or food stamps, they are eligible to get denied. Democrats are arguing that this would create uncertainty and inconsistent decision-making by immigration officers. What do you think about this, Mark?
Well, I'm glad you asked, Maria. I think it's actually a very good thing to put that as an incentive. If you want to be a green card holder, you should never be on food stamps. You should never have received SNAP benefits. This will actually encourage those migrants to actually get a permit to work and work hard. Be independent. Do not depend on the government. If you really want to be a green card holder, you're going to work your butt off, respect the law, and when the time comes, you are going to have a foolproof plan to become a green card holder. How? You're going to show that you're a hard worker. You're going to show that you came here legally. You're going to show that you actually respect the law and care for this country. You're going to show that you're not going to depend on the government and on other American taxpayers' dollars, that you are going to be a good material to one day become an American citizen. So thank you for the question, Maria.
We cannot be everybody's sugar daddy, okay? Like, money doesn't grow on trees. If you need a welfare check, you're not getting a green card. It's pretty simple.
Yep.
I mean, I think most Americans probably agree that immigration should not just be a path to welfare. Money doesn't grow on trees. We need more. We need to find immigrants who are actually contributors, who provide something to society, and fewer people who are dependent on welfare benefits. I mean, that's not a good way to build your country when you're allowing people in that consume the resources that those who are working hard are contributing to this economy.
What do you think, Emily?
The American taxpayer should not have to foot the bill for illegal aliens. And look, it's been a remarkable year at the border. More than 100,000 criminal illegal aliens deported under this president. Of course, many of them with those lengthy criminal rap sheets. But my major concern in 2025 was, of course, the 1,000% increase in assaults against ICE agents. In 2026, of course, I want to see that number fall to 0%. But in order to do so, we need to crack down on those tools and websites that are enabling criminals to dox ICE agents. I reported this year that a former NYU professor is operating a website that uses facial recognition and artificial intelligence in order to reveal the identities of ICE agents. The U Chicago student newspaper is also running an ICE tracking website that reveals GPS coordinates.
Hey, man, $3,000, baby. Let's go. Let's go. You hear these libtards over here just crying about it. Guys, $3,000. I wish that I could. Bro, oh my gosh, I'd be so good to go right now. I'm going to tell you something. Take out the, $30,000, $31,000 from the 401k. Plus, I get a free plane ticket to go back home. And I get $3,000 once I get there. Golly, I'm ready to go. But first, we have other things to attend. We have other matters to adhere to. And, well, one of them, here's a couple of things that I'm thinking, guys. This is just for my patrons. You guys on the left that don't like me, I don't care what you say here. But you guys already know we're going to put our name on the ballot in May so that we can run for governor of Washington State. And then if that doesn't work, I am going to sign up to be an ICE agent. Just saying. I'm going to sign up to be an ICE agent. As an American citizen, I believe I qualify. It feels like my physical stamina is getting better by the day. It's crazy because I'm getting older. But, joints are getting better. Everything seems to be getting normal. So there you go. So I'm going to be doing some type of service for our country. And I can't wait to go out there and yell at people. Get out of my face before I arrest your ass. Muévase de aquí, cabrón. Para allá, chingado. You know what I'm saying? I want to be able to just cuss some people out in Spanish. And I'm going to have somebody with me. I'm going to probably make a deal here with maybe some of these YouTuber content creators. Or I will just make my own ICE agent channel. Imagine that. Come over here. All right, guys. So, boom. This week, we went on, and here we go. Let me show you. This is me right here in the city of blah, blah, blah. And we actually were looking for a specific couple of people. And because some of the citizens and residents and all the people that tried to obstruct federal agents, well, I had to kick some ass. And so I arrested a few people. I tied them down, set them on the sidewalk for the police to pick them up. So this is what happened, guys. Check this out. So this guy right here is cussing at me from a distance, which I'm okay with that. But then he got too damn close, like this close to my face. I don't like that. So I pushed him with one hand and pepper spray with the other one. There you have it right there on camera, guys. This is what that was. Now, this is another angle from my 360 camera that I have on my shoulder pad right here, and it's just recording everything around me. I think we will probably go viral, guys. We will go viral. Let's see. VM says, oh, yeah, I need to work. See you, my fellow Americans. Law-abiding citizen Dennis, thank you, sir. Well, thank you, man, for being here with me today. You're going to miss the best part of the show. Because Crime Chef is coming very soon, my friends. But first, my last clip. And this is Minnesota mayor's revolt as billions vanish. Massive deficit looms around Chicago. And this mayor, who is also a dumbass Democrat, has been pooping all over Chicago. And the leftists, they just keep defending and protecting. I don't know what to tell you, but here we go. This is a short clip, and then we can get into our finishing act, which is the Crime Chef edited videos we all love so much.
Minnesota mayors say they're deeply concerned and frustrated by the alleged fraud and unchecked spending from state officials. They say the state's $18 billion surplus has disappeared, projecting now a $3 billion deficit in 2028. They write this: our state owes it to our citizens to practice responsible fiscal management and to stop taxing our families, seniors, and businesses out of Minnesota. We urge the legislature to course correct and to remember that every dollar you manage belongs not to the Capitol, but to the people of Minnesota. House Majority Whip Tom Emmer was with me yesterday. He says whoever was responsible needs to be held accountable. My personal opinion is there is no way that $1 billion plus got its way out of the Waltz administration without someone in the administration being aware and or complicit. He told me on this program yesterday he's grateful that President Trump pulled back the curtain on all of this. Minnesota Attorney General, meanwhile, Keith Ellison, is being mocked on social media for a post that he put out touting his work on cracking down on fraud, saying on X, scammers thought Minnesotans were easy targets, but they were wrong. From student loan scams to fake utility callers, we shut them down.
This guy hasn't done shit. What is he talking about?
This year, fast. Mark, who's going to shut down the fraud we're talking about, though?
Right? I mean, I'm pretty sure there was a, what was it?
Sorry, she was being sarcastic with that. My bad.
Feeding Our Future scandal, which promised to feed hungry kids during the pandemic, and it turns out they stole like $250 million right there in Minnesota. So, look, I don't think they've been doing a very good job. And when 100 mayors have to come to the table, you know that the state isn't doing what they're supposed to do to prevent fraud. And the interesting thing, Maria, is that this isn't like a partisan group of mayors. This is a bipartisan mutiny. They're saying enough's enough. Taxpayers deserve the right to know exactly where their tax dollars are going. And taxpayers and voters also are allowed to have a reasonable expectation that their elected officials are looking out for their best interests. And it seems pretty apparent that that hasn't been happening in Minnesota.
And then they have the nerve to put these posts out that they're cracking down. Emily, let's remember, we would not know any of this if Waltz was our vice president right now.
Oh, absolutely. And Maria, it is laughable that Minnesota Governor Tim Walz is attempting to shift the blame here to President Trump when perhaps one of the most effective accomplishments of this administration has been rooting out waste, fraud, and abuse. This year, DOJ reported at least $200 billion in savings. That equates to about $1,300 per taxpayer. Secretary Brooke Rollins said that the USDA found that nearly 5,000 deceased individuals were still receiving food stamps. The Department of Ed found over $30 million in federal student aid going to deceased individuals. I mean, this administration clearly is rooting out waste, fraud, and abuse, and it's those Minnesota lawmakers who need to join the party.
I mean, what were they doing all of these years? What have they been doing if there's all of this fraud and the fact that, you know, scammers can take advantage of this money the way that they have?
I would say they're either not doing their job or they're complicit. So either way you look at it, that's not good. Elected officials are there to serve a purpose to the voters, to the taxpayers, and they're not doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
Falling asleep, Minnesotas. That's what that is. Oh, guess what? I got another video. Sorry about that.
So it's called Operation Highway Sentinel, and it is now in full swing. ICE ramping up its crackdown on illegal immigrant truck drivers following a series of awful, deadly crashes that took the lives of many people across several states. And with that, we welcome you to the second hour of America's Newsroom. I'm Martha McCallum. Bill and Dana have the day off, but I'm thrilled to be joined by Aisha in D.C. Hi, Aisha.
Good morning to you, Martha. Good to be with you. The news does not stop on this holiday week. I'm Aisha Husney, and we are tracking those federal agents arresting more than 100 illegal aliens during that sweep. And it targeted truck companies in California after a string of disasters on the road linked to commercial licenses issued under Governor Gavin Newsom. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy says it is no longer business as usual.
President Trump has said, make aviation and make our roads safer than the previous 4 years. He's given us that directive. These are rules that are set up to make sure our roads are safe. And so if you can't speak English, if you haven't gone through the proper training courses, you shouldn't be behind the wheel of a big rig. These are 80,000-pound vehicles that can be incredibly dangerous when things go wrong.
So our William Lajeunesse is live in Los Angeles with all of the details on this operation. Good morning, William.
Hey, good morning, Aisha. You know, in many states like California, it's illegal for police to even ask a driver their immigration status, including those driving commercial trucks, which is why this administration is sending out ICE, Border Patrol, Homeland Security to checkpoints and shipping ports looking for illegal immigrants issued CDLs, commercial licenses, including California, where it blames Governor Newsom for illegally issuing thousands of those CDLs to undocumented drivers. Already, the state's revoked about 17,000 CDLs. More are under review after Duffy threatened to withhold millions in highway funds.
The problem is that you had Joe Biden that let tens of millions of people into the country, and then you have liberal governors who said, well, they got to work, so let's give them commercial driver's licenses.
That's crazy.
So ICE arrested 101 undocumented drivers from India, Mexico, Colombia, Uzbekistan, Ukraine, Nicaragua, Russia, Republic of Georgia, Venezuela, El Salvador, and Honduras.
Yep.
Everyone, when you're stopping them, what you're...
And somehow these libtards want me to defend these guys. They want me to defend illegal immigrants. Why? Why? You're causing this. You're causing this. If you support illegal immigration, you are causing this. You are guilty for all of this.
Immigration statuses, that seems perfectly fair, perfectly reasonable, perfectly lawful. And it's unfortunate that certain states really do put public safety behind this open borders mass amnesty agenda.
So Border Patrol agents in El Centro also arrested 49 immigrant commercial drivers. California issued 31 of those licenses, but others came from Florida, Illinois, Ohio, and New York, where Secretary Duffy says 53% of the state's CDLs went to illegal immigrants. Yuma agents arrested this Indian national on I-10 near the Arizona border. So Aisha, here's the conflict, right? The Biden administration gave millions of asylum-seeking immigrants EADs, or work authorization papers, for months or years. 10 mostly liberal states, 40 others did not, said great, let them make money driving a commercial truck, even though federal law had said no, only U.S. citizens and legal permanent residents. So now Duffy wants those states to claw back some 600,000 of those licenses. Some states are saying no. Back to you.
Okay. William Lajeunesse live for us from Los Angeles. William, thank you. Martha?
All right, well, joining us now with more, former acting DHS Secretary Chad Wolf. Chad, good to see you. Thanks for joining us this morning. You know, it is shocking to learn that over 100 people on the road driving these semi-trucks, in many cases, are here illegally, and in many cases don't speak the language, in some cases cannot read the signage that is on the roads. And we've seen the deadly result of some of this. Very tragic for families who lost their loved ones. Your take on this program and how it's working, Chad?
Yeah, I think this is concerning for millions of Americans who are on the roads in this holiday season. And you see these big trucks driving and you're wondering who's behind the wheel of the road. Do they understand the language? Do they understand the street signs and everything of that nature? So look, I think the Trump administration is doing the right thing. What this tells you is that we are still digging out from the 4 years of the Biden administration. The consequences of allowing 10 to 15 to upwards to 20 million illegal aliens to come into this country, stay here, get work authorization, and then get these CDLs from these 10 or so states. We're having to deal with this. So you have Secretary Duffy doing the right thing and other members of the Trump administration saying, it's not right to have these folks on the road. We need to enforce the law. If these states won't do it, well, then we will send ICE in to do that job.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like the basic standards that you would expect would be in place to make sure that people can read the signs, that they...
Human beings can also be put in prison.
They have the proper training. All of that we've learned are not happening in some of these cases, which is, you know, such a really an abandonment of just basic principles of safety that you would expect governors in places like California to want to uphold. I want to ask you about self-deportation and about how the removal process is going. I want to play this from Governor Pritzker, because he is hugging very close to his line that these are Nazi practices. And I want to give you an opportunity to respond to what he says. Watch.
They sent CBP and ICE dressed in uniforms with automatic weapons into neighborhoods, and they began literally stopping anybody who's brown or black and asking them for papers. I studied about the Nazi regime and how they did do that.
So let's say that's a bad thing, right? So is he going to say what happens when they show papers? What is it wrong about asking for papers? That's just got to go. It's a national security problem. They should be able to ask us for papers. They should be able to identify us. It's a national security issue. They should be allowed to ask for papers, especially with all the crime that is in all of these cities. They should be happy that they're helping them clean their cities so that they can have peace for their citizens. Oh, that's right. They don't make that much money if there's no crime. I forgot about that, Democrats.
I don't know any other regimes. Maybe other people have been required to prove their citizenship in a country just walking around.
Is that what's happening, Chad?
No, it's not. It's not anywhere close. Governor Pritzker is an embarrassment. He has no idea what he's saying. And if he does, he's simply lying. ICE is not pulling over anyone because of the color of their skin. They have reasonable suspicion. They have targets. They go through, like any other law enforcement agency, they go through a number of steps to identify who it is that they want to interview, to detain, and then eventually arrest and remove, right? There are very specific protocols that they go through. So Governor Pritzker and others that just saying, oh, they're just stopping whoever they want to see, on the side of the road. It's simply not the case. He has no idea what he's talking about. It does a disservice to ICE law enforcement agents, and it actually puts their lives at risk, because when his constituents in Chicago or Illinois or any others on the left hear Nazism, they say, well, we've got to defeat those guys. We've got to go after them. And it's putting these officers and lives at danger. He needs to stop it. He needs to tone down that type of rhetoric. It's okay if you have a policy difference with the Trump administration. I get that. But ICE is doing what Congress told them to do, which is to enforce immigration law and to remove those that are here illegally. They're doing their job. We should support them. And Governor Pritzker is completely off base here.
Yeah. The self-deportation process, depending on how you look at it, is going fairly well. Nearly 2 million people have chosen to take that route where they get to leave on their own and go back to their country and have a better situation if they want to try to seek re-entry to the United States than those who are arrested for being here illegally. Yeah. Chad, thank you so much for joining us. Great to.
There you go. Illegal immigrants. Again, always breaking the law. And with that, my friends, Robert, you'll be more than happy to know that it is time for the Crime Chef. Let's see what he got for us today.
Today's subject is a 24-year-old illegal immigrant from Venezuela who infiltrated an Ohio high school by masquerading as a teenage student. For over a year, he moved among genuine adolescents, attending classes, joining sports teams, and living with a host family, all under a carefully crafted false identity. What looked like an ordinary school day was, in fact, an extraordinary case of deception. This is the story of how an illegal alien used forged documents, false narratives, and systemic goodwill to embed himself inside a community designed to protect children.
We talked to the person.
24-year-old pretending to be a teenager to go to high school and rape underage girls. Good job, Hammer. This is your human rights. You idiots.
Harrisburg Police Department, they said it's not a written policy that we're going to go to the Border Patrol, but it's certainly standard practice. So if they would have done that back in 2023, my belief is that they would have gone to the Border Patrol and they would have identified him.
In the wilds of Perrysburg High School, he was invisible until one revelation changed everything.
Anthony. Hello, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
What's your name, man?
Anthony.
Anthony?
Yeah.
Where, can you step up for me, man?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But what started as a curiosity quickly became a puzzle. How did a fully grown adult manage to slip into a school system built to protect children? Investigators would later uncover a trail of false identities, forged birth certificates, altered immigration records, and a driver's license that bore a date of birth a full 8 years off the truth.
Labrador Sierra comes to Perrysburg and says, hey, I'm homeless. I've been from Venezuela. I'm in the country legally, but I've been human trafficked. And at that point, Perrysburg says, hey, you're going to need to go get a birth certificate and come back, and then you can enroll in the school. Now, we know that, I forget what the name of the federal law is, the McKinney-Vento Homeless Assistance Act says, like, if somebody
from 1987.
Yeah, if someone comes to you and says, hey, I'm homeless, I want to enroll, you're not supposed to ask for documentation. So apparently this is not what Perrysburg did. This is my understanding of the act. So they asked him for documentation, and so he goes away for about 2 months, and then he comes back with this birth certificate that says his date of birth is March of 2007. He had a daughter, I believe, with a woman, and she reached out to his guardians and said, look, this is not a 17-year-old kid. This is a 24-year-old man. He's the father of my child.
Labrador Sierra had enrolled under the guise of being homeless and trafficked, exploiting procedures meant to safeguard vulnerable youths. His false narrative was accepted, his identity never rigorously verified, and so his deception thrived. This guy didn't just cross the border illegally. He forged documents, lied about his identity, and passed through systems that were supposed to catch him. On paper, he looked legitimate. In reality, he wasn't. And that's what should bother you, because when identity systems fail, it's not just a border issue. It means anyone's identity can be misused, and most of the time the victim has no idea until the damage is already done. That's where today's sponsor, Aura, can help. Aura is an all-in-one digital security platform that helps protect your identity and your privacy, not after something goes wrong, but before it does. Aura automatically identifies data.
Now, because I am not getting paid for that, and he's not going to because it's not his channel, I'm going to skip that.
Underneath his mattress in the home, and what they found was a gun, cash, and a fake Michigan driver's license. Guardians reached out to Perrysburg Schools talked to Perrysburg Police Department and tell them, and then the police department reaches out to Border Patrol, and they are able to determine fairly quickly that this guy was not 17, he was indeed 24.
I've dealt with fraud, I've dealt with, forged documents and stuff like that, but to this extent and to this extreme, no, I've never dealt with anything like this.
The facade began to crumble in May 2025, not through law enforcement vigilance, but through a personal disclosure. A woman contacted Labrador Sierra's legal guardians, claiming he was not a teen, but a 24-year-old father of her child. She provided documentation proving his true age. This revelation triggered a deeper investigation, leading school officials and Perrysburg police to reevaluate everything. What once seemed like a compassionate act of assistance turned into a complex case of fraud, forgery, and deceit.
What's most heartbreaking is how our staff and community responded to a young person who said he was in need with compassion. They believed they were helping a child who had suffered trauma. That trust was broken, but how we responded says everything about who we are.
Hey, back up.
And there you go. There is your normal Juanitos and Karens out there protesting, ICE agents, police, anybody they can think of that is arresting anybody because they're ignorant. This guy's 24 years old, has a child with another woman, is in a high school where there is minor girls. He's over there doing God knows what to all these teenage girls. And these idiot people are out here cussing our authority, our peace officers, our ICE agents. They're out there defending people that are being arrested and getting deported, but they don't know jack squat about the history of that person. For somebody that knows that I'm Hispanic and they call me a traitor for allowing the law to be enforced, for me respecting the law, is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Only criminals will say that. If you're an American and you support illegal immigration, let me tell you something. You are enabling criminals. While there is a lot of innocent people that come through, every single one of them that is here illegally is a criminal. It is a crime to break federal law. It is also a crime to work without a permit. It is also a crime to use false identity. That is a felony. So don't be stupid and support illegal immigration. I don't care if it's a family member. Jorge, you should be deported, dude. If you didn't have papers, you should be deported. Go to the corner. No more from you right now. You guys are punished.
We heard that he likely had a girlfriend and that he had likely dated several other girls. Everybody wants to know, was he having sexual relations with underage girls?
Everyone please back up right now. Back up right now. I understand. Let them do their job. Dejan que haga su trabajo. Espérese. Hold on. Give us the other hand. Hey, buddy. Hey, other hand. A ver, let me get this hand. Yeah. No pelees.
See, so he's fighting the police and he said, get him off of me. I like how he speaks English, but he's saying in Spanish, right? Get him off of me. Really?
Get out.
Do you know who the guy there is?
No, we probably should.
Do you have the info of the guy that you're taking?
His name is Herrera.
As police took him into custody during a routine traffic stop on Interstate 75, the scope of charges expanded dramatically. Federal prosecutors charged Labrador Sierra with possession of a firearm as an unlawful alien, making false statements on immigration and
Derek, watch the damn video. There's one of them right there.
Firearm purchase documents and multiple counts of fraud and forgery.
Immigration is extremely complicated. There are so many different visas, temporary protection, all kinds of status. This guy, he was in the process of applying for a trafficking visa.
On September 22, 2025, he pleaded guilty to all counts in federal court, facing decades behind bars when sentencing is imposed in early 2026. His crimes weren't just local school deception. They crossed into federal violations involving firearm procurement and immigration fraud.
He fooled a lot of people, including federal authorities, with...
He did not fool some of these parents whose kids were playing soccer against him. I mean, we've got photos of that.
Why did this guy want to be a student at Perrysburg High School?
I think in the most basic form, someone probably said, just go say you're homeless over here.
If anybody just shows up to the school district, says I'm homeless, I'm 17 years old, even though I might be 25 years old, they've got to let you in with no documentation.
At face value, this story reads like something out of a script, an adult in high school hidden in plain sight. But the reality is far more sobering. It highlights systemic vulnerabilities, how identity verification can fail, how goodwill can be exploited, and how a community's trust can be manipulated. From forged birth certificates to federal indictments, this case challenges us to ask hard questions about security, empathy, and oversight. What safeguards must be strengthened so that compassion doesn't become a loophole for exploitation? How do systems designed to protect the most vulnerable remain robust against those who seek to deceive them? In the end, this was not just a case about one man's duplicity. It was a reminder of the delicate balance between trust and verification and the role of law enforcement in maintaining that balance.
There you go. There's your teenager, 24-year-old man, pedophile, and you guys support illegal immigration. So anybody talking about President Trump lying about the Epstein files, what does he lie about? He really had nothing to do with them. He had nothing to do with what you guys are accusing him of. That's what he's talking about. You guys want to support pedophiles. You guys have no problem with Muslims being pedophiles. What's the problem? You don't have problems with this 24-year-old over here having sex with teenage girls. You don't have a problem with that. You don't have a problem with illegal immigration, as a matter of fact. You don't have a problem with people breaking the law in the United States of America. So shut the hell up. Don't be a hypocrite. Don't be an idiot. If you're going to come in here calling us a liar, you better bring some facts. Okay? Don't be stupid. You're just making yourself look bad. With that being said, you guys know that after I play my crime chef, that just means that is the end of my live. I do want to say thank you guys for being here with me. You guys make the show special. All you libtards that come in here, I hope that at some point you are learning something from coming into my channel. Guys, I appreciate you guys' likes, your subscribes. Thank you for supporting my channel. Thank you for becoming members. You guys stay amazing. God bless you. God bless the USA. God bless your family, of course. And for all you haters, remember, you are in America, the land of the free. In this land, we have laws and we have order. Either you stand with us or get the hell out of our country.